It does that thing. Okay, so I'm at 120 exactly.
I'm at 1 minute exactly currently. I shall go forward to 120.
And your in-game name was Nightshade, wasn't it?
It's
Night.
5CD Space Nightshade.
Ah, okay, so I just call you right. Okay, sound.
Just call me Nightshade, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay,
And I'll call you QS.
that's right.
Alright, I'm ready.
Okay, same again as yesterday, yeah. And then
Yep, sure thing.
cool. All right, 3, 2, 1, play. Hey there, guys. This is the QS Gamer. We're back here for Game 2 between Team Compete League and the Dial-Up Dongers. There was a bit of a change-up in teams today, and we're starting off bands nice and quick. First up, Tristana and Evelyn. Again, very similar bands. Next up on the blue side, looks as though the team has changed. Rustytron this time over on the blue side. Jinx being picked up as a second band there. And it looks as though they are targeting a couple of AD carries. Well, Jinx wasn't in the last game. Syndra was, however. It was the Kellen CB playing Syndra, and that was a quite a annoying champion that he was on. He was very skilled in the lane. Didn't end up winning, but he was doing really well. His mechanics were very solid on that champion.
Yeah, very well indeed. Just wondering, are we talking about the game from the game tryout 1 or from the game previously before this one?
This should be the... We're on Game Tryout 2 at the moment. Game Tryout 1 was the previous game. It was played right before this one.
Oh, okay. So the Jinx could have been in reaction because Rustytron knows
Oh, yes.
he had a hard time in the in the lane when he was playing Twitch against Jinx.
Yes.
Maybe hoping to pick up an early Jinx here. Maybe first picking Twitch. Sorry. So just to give him a little bit of an easier time on Jinx against in lane.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
the Yasuo ban also coming through at the end, and a Lucian ban. So that's 3 AD carries banned out. So it's going to be interesting to see what AD carries they pick here. However, the blue team deciding to go with a Morgana. Very strong pick, getting off those bindings. Picked up for the second time here, 2 games in a row. Looking forward to get some more bindings landing off, maybe some good ults, maybe looking for that team fight. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same player as well, Delta version, playing the Morgana. He was really good in the previous game. So hopefully we'll see him pull something similar out. Janna and Warwick being hovered over here. Warwick, a bit of a strange one. Don't see him very often. Maybe he's got something up his sleeve.
Yeah, seen a lot of Warwicks lately in solo queue. Maybe looking forward to getting onto that Orianna, getting onto that Twitch, getting onto the AD carry that the blue team may be picking out, knowing Rustytron can be quite a slippery person. With both the Morgana from last game being locked in and also the Janna being locked in, almost a mirror matchup from the last game when it comes to supports. However, we've got to remember last game Morgana ended up with 19 assists, so we know Delta can definitely play this champion, and the J4 being hovered over here by Rustytron, very strong pick, looking for those engages, maybe going for the same sort of similar team fight orientated team as they did last time. Not sure yet.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit concerned about the Warwick pick into the Morgana. A spell shield can stop the chained CC on there. So it's a little bit of a strange one. Let's see how that does play out into the matchup. It looks like Vi being hovered over here for Queen Andraste. She is going to be playing the Vi again, as well as the Kog'Maw for Rustytron. Well, actually, switched it to a Sivir at last second. Very strange. Not too sure about that. He is picking. He is going to be counter-picked here, so I have to see what they kind of decide to go for to play against that Sivir. Very strange pick.
However, we do know that means there is 2 spell shields down in the bot lane. Maybe give them a very, passive, very safe lane where she can farm up. Sivir also, maybe if they are looking for that team fight orientated team, Sivir there, able to buff up the team, give them that movement speed, able to then chase down the opponents.
Absolutely, it was something that the team that Rustytron was in last time. He was very well positioned in team fights. He is, as we mentioned last time, one of the higher ranked players. In fact, the highest ranked player that is playing today. And you could definitely tell that the way he's positioning his mechanics in the last game. Let's see if that does transfer over into this one. Rise and Graves been picked up, so they're choosing to play Graves into the Sivir. Bit of a strange matchup, not one I've seen very often. How do you think that's going to play out?
Well, really, I think with the early game here, I think Graves may be able to abuse that, depending how well the spell shields can be used by both the Morgana and the Sivir. We just have to see if maybe any extra jungle pressure. We shouldn't see too much pressure coming down from the Warwick though, at least not till level 6. Maybe Vi can capitalise that. Not sure. However, the Rise pick in the top lane is incredibly strong at the moment, although that does leave them being open for Jace to be hovered over here. Jace also a very strong pick at the moment. Scales incredibly well with the Ari being locked in. More CC being locked in for the blue side here.
Yeah, so it looks as though the blue team here are going for a little bit of a pick in regards to the Morgana and the Ari. That combination really, really strong, especially with the Vi as well. Instant lockdown on one person. Got to see how they can change that over and get that on point. Meanwhile, the Rise pick, as you mentioned, yeah, really, really strong lane. I've got to see how Kellen CB does play against the Rise. He was playing the Syndra last game, played really, really well as the Syndra mechanically. Let's see if he can match that with his Jace play.
Not sure on this Orianna pick here, really. I mean, Orianna can survive herself in lane against Nari. However, I'm not really sure, not really certain how that's going to work with a team comp. Maybe landing onto a ball, maybe landing a ball onto Warwick. However, there is still two spell shields coming down. Warwick's going to find a hard time landing that ult, and the Orianna's got to be careful trying to land as many people in the ults as she can. However, high mobility coming from most members on the blue team here. Jace with that acceleration gate, Ari with her ultimate, Vi, very mobile champion, Sivir with her spell shield and also her ultimate, which increases movement speed for the entire team here. So really, the red team here have got to be very careful, seeing if they can land any good placement with the Orianna balls. I think it's going to be very difficult for the red team. However, in the same position, Rise is going to get incredibly strong late game with that Orianna. Late game, both teams have some strong picks here. We'll just have to see how it plays out.
Absolutely, I do give the team fights if it does come to a 5v5, I do give the team composition to blue side here. I do feel as though they have with the Graves Orianna. I think that can be a really really good high damage combo. Just got to see how they do deal with that mobility. There is going to be, as you mentioned, a large mobile element to blue side here. Just got to see how that does come into it as the game starts. Looks as though we are getting to the 3 minute period here where we do have to try and find something to talk about. So in regards to the matchups, which matchup do you think is going to be the most interesting to look at?
I'm looking forward to see if Quicksilver here may be able to pressure down anything on that mid lane. We might see some roaming coming down from him, especially once reaching level 6. Might be able to pick something up down bot. Vi incredibly potent with those level 6 ganks, although so is Warwick. We'll just have to see really what goes on. However, if I had to pick myself, I would go for that mid lane matchup. What about yourself?
Well, I definitely think the mid lane matchup is going to be one to watch. The Utra was very, very good on the Orianna into late game. Early game, a little bit questionable, but then again, he was against a really high lane bully in the form of Syndra. I do also want to see how the top lane plays out. Normally, we see the top lane as two tanks just kind of farming up and waiting to use their teleports proactively. Looks as though this lane is going to be a little bit more different. I think we're going to see a lot of bullying from the Jace, and again, a lot of bullying from the Ryze as well. They're both high damage champions.
I feel like in that early game, though, the Jace might have the slight upper hand. Although Rise is definitely going to scale up pretty well. We'll just see how he can use his teleports. See if they can get off any dragons, any 5v4 fights being burst. We'll just have to see when we get in game.
Absolutely. We're going to have a look and see if they even do pick teleport. It is actually blanked out here for the stream, so we can't see whether or not they are going to be picking that. If one of them doesn't, that may open up advantages in regards to team fights. I do also want to see the junglers as well. I want to see if Warwick is going to decide to do some early ganks, and also the build options as well. Vi is pretty standard build, tends to go a little bit kind of brawlery and tanky. The Warwick has quite a few more options. He could go high damage, could build up that the Wriggles Lantern. He could just decide to go tank for the team. I think he's probably better off going tank. There isn't much high resistances on the on the red side there, so we're going to see what he does decide to build into going towards the late game.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. Although there is a little bit of possibility, maybe a little bit of leeway, depending how much damage Vi actually decides to build. Although with the team, there is a lot of damage already coming through from the Ari and the Jace, so probably not really necessary here. Probably wanting to become that strong tank, that backbone for the team.
Looks as though we are loading into the game here. So we are going to be going into game 2, which is the final game between the dubbed Team Compete League and the dubbed Dial-Up Dongers appropriately. I don't think they are the actual team names, but that's what we'll refer to them as for today's game. Loading to the loading screens here. Let's see what the summoner spells are. So it looks as though Jace has picked up Ignite and Ryze has actually picked up Teleport. So we are going to see that Ignite advantage in the lane.
At the same time, though, the Ignite advantage in the lane may be able to pick up a game, may be able to pick up that kill very early on. The aggression probably going to be coming through for the Jace here. However, when coming down to team fights, maybe that Ryze can abuse that. Jace is going to have to be roaming down, getting down to bot, getting ready for those dragon fights. So realistically, Ryze is going to maybe get a little bit more free farm up in the top lane. We'll
Yeah,
just have to see how that
yeah,
pans out.
I absolutely agree with that. I think the rise is going to be easier to farm. I do think that from looking at it at at face value, I think the rise is going to be looking to maybe push in and try and make use of that teleport. Alternatively, just being able to get back into the lane as fast as possible. I definitely think the matchup to watch here, looking at the Ignite heal matchup again, heal being used from Yutra, designed to take the heal against the Ahri. I guess he feels as though he's going to be pressured quite a lot. I definitely don't like that. It is much better. You tend to be doing damage from a lot from large ranges with Orianna. You don't very tend to be going in with Ignite. The Sivir as well, standard lane, bot lane. There's nothing too fancy going on there. It's going to be nice to see. I haven't actually seen Zynthia play before. I don't believe he was in the last game. I think that may have been a change out. I'm not too sure. We'll have to check. But Graves again, a champion I enjoy playing, so I'm going to enjoy seeing what he can pull out.
Yeah, Graves definitely a change up here coming into this match. However, at the same time, Graves is all easily blocked by the Sivir spell shield, depending how long she decides to leave it. Maybe he'll block it, maybe he won't. Anyway, Graves can be very strong early game, especially hitting that level 6 with that high damage burst ultimate coming through. And at the same time here, as you were talking about the Orianna, with the heal for the second game, obviously feeling like she wants to farm up a little bit more, did that in the first game, ended up turning out quite well, picking up loads and loads of kills between the mid and late game. However, the Orianna may be looking forward. I would give her the slight edge in the matchup currently, simply because if you can dodge those Orianna balls, if you can dodge that Ahri, the Ahri charm, the Ahri Q, you can actually get some high damage coming in from your auto attacks. The Orianna passive becoming to great use here. Just have to see maybe who can really dodge the skill shots here in the mid lane.
Absolutely, it's something that not a lot of people do remember is the Orianna scaling passive. A lot of people do use it. They prioritise last hitting using it, but it does deal a surprising amount of damage to champions if you do manage to get the third auto attack off. Pretty standard, same as last game here. Looking at it, looks as though it's just going to be a simple ward and defend. No lane swaps, nothing too fancy going on. Guess we're just going to wait until the 1 minute 55 mark and see how it goes from there.
I feel if Team CL really wanted to here, they may have the slight advantage if they did look to go for an invade. The Morgana Q obviously allowing them to maybe get up a pick, Ahri Charm, if she decided to level it up for level 1, gives them the ability to maybe pick up a pick. However, red team, playing quite defensively, getting that ward in the bush there, and making sure that they don't play too aggressive.
Because there were a rather aggressive ward there from Warwick coming in near blue side. He did manage to get the ward on blue, and that will die just after the blue does spawn, so we will know exactly where Vi is going to be starting.
Orianna actually deciding to back. Oh no, cancelling a beat at the last second, deciding minions have spawned. There's not enough time. Don't want to end up losing those first couple of creeps in the wave. And the ward just surviving for the red team. However, Team CL do know they now have a ward in that river bush. In the river though.
Yeah, it looks as though the minions are coming into lane. Nothing too fancy, as we say. Getting to the 1 minute 55 mark, going to be starting in the jungle. Warwick here has no leash. Very strange. Unless I'm missing that. Doesn't look as though he has no one with him.
No, Warwick, one of the few junglers that actually seemed to go out okay after without getting a leash. High sustain there for him. And one thing I am actually interested to see is utility actually being used for both the top, mid lane and support for dial-up dongers. Looking forward to playing maybe a more passive and sustain up early game.
Yeah, so this bot lane here starting off pretty much the same as last time, but both players getting quite aggressive towards their opponents. The shield being used there from Janna to do as much damage as possible. Again, the Janna pick, I will like to see how much damage the Graves Qs are going to be doing once it's been shielded. But I think this is going to be the lane to watch in the first 7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. Already you can see Sivir taking quite a bit of damage there. Janna also taking some back off the back line. Janna at this time has actually decided to go with a Spell Thief's Edge, which is my personal favourite. Graves narrowly missing out, dodging that binding there, as Ryze dealing a little bit more damage to the Jace in the top lane. Poke coming back and forth for pretty much all 3 lanes here. Should be quite an interesting early game, I'm hoping.
So it looks as though there as well, just something that I have picked up on. That is actually, I do believe Graves has not missed a CS yet. In fact, that cannon minion there was the first CS he missed. He is up almost double on the Sivir already, and it's only 3.5 minutes into the game. Let's see how that plays out going further along. Looks as though in the mid lane, the ward there gone up in the top side of the jungle. Got to see if that does pick up anyone. That is a really, really nice ward. I do like to put that down there, and that way you can pick up. You can see the jungle if they are coming from wraiths or coming down from top side. Looks as though it's kind of eased up a little bit on the action.
Yeah, the lane's feeling a little bit more simmer. Red team still trying to apply that little bit of pressure bot lane. Sivir getting a little bit more behind on farm, taking quite a bit of damage, and Morgana taking a lot of damage here, and the heal actually being forced out by the Sivir. However, the Vi coming down to the gank at a great moment here, seeing if they can close this off. Graves being forced to flash.
Yeah, that was a really, really good call from Blue Team there. The Graves and the Janna were pushing in really, really hard. That was a lot of summoner smells burnt there. Flash and exhaust for the Janna, the flash for the Graves, and then it actually came out on top. There's only the exhaust and the heal burnt for blue side.
Oh, however, Morgana getting a little bit picky here. Warwick coming down, and that will be first blood going down to Graves in the bot lane. Let's see if Graves can keep this advantage going. Looking forward to getting a little bit more damage off. Sivir surviving on a tiny bit more, in just a tiny bit of health, and so first blood going down to the dial-up dongers. Graves looking forward to maybe abuse this early game as much as possible, and see how well he can use this advantage.
Very, very similar scenario to first game. It was actually around this time that first blood was actually achieved by the Dark Dongers the same time last game. So got to see, it is on the right person this time. Fight going down top lane.
And Rise also picking up the kill here. This is a great start for dial-up dongers. Rise with a nice solo there. Actually, surprisingly, I would have thought Jace would have been better, especially with not really that much damage coming in through Rise in the early game. However, he is being able to build up that lead, also managing to gain a little bit of a CS lead.
Yeah, he is 10 CS ahead. It's really, really well played by the Rise. As I mentioned there, it's slightly easier to last it with the Rise, what with his Q being on such a short cooldown. Got to see what he's going to build with that little bit of gold that he's got. See if he does go towards the starting his Rod of Ages, where they just start to build his tier up. I imagine it should be a tier. Very similar build options available for the Jace and the Rise in the early game.
Yeah, definitely. The Orianna just pretty much managed to keep up in farm with the Ahri actually beating her from playing passively at the moment. So we'll just have to see how much Ahri decides to pressure in this mid lane, see if he can land any charms, get any bullying off. And Graves looking forward to going even more aggressive down in the bot lane, getting Morgana binded, unable to carry that through. However, Sivir and Graves taking quite a bit of damage.
Absolutely. It looks as though I think the Sivir and the Morgana kind of need to just ease off a little bit. The early game pressure of the Janna and the... Oh, Vi coming in.
Vi coming in, Janna escaping, Janna getting binded at the last second though. Although I'm not really sure they're going to be able to finish this off. And no, that's not going to happen as Janna forced to use her flash here. However, the flash is now both down for both members of the bot lane in dial-up dongers. Let's see if Vi may be able to come around for a repeat gank, get any kills down here. As dial-up dongers managed to escape by the skin of their teeth. Might even be able to turn this around now. Vi has backed off, although Janna is still a little bit low from that fight.
Yeah, heal is still up for the Graves, and it's just it's about a minute on cooldown for Rusty Tron. Got to see how that does come into effect. I think they are going to continue to push the lane in here. Sivir going quite low. Just got to see how much CS she can pull back on top of this. She is still really far ahead, 20 CS ahead for the Graves. So that is a huge... Oh, charm landing.
Charm being landed by the Ahri. However, a little bit more damage coming off onto the Orianna. However, the last Q means they trade roughly evenly. Orianna decided to back out there, not wanting to fight that. Sort of low on mana. Don't want to risk it, especially not until they get the blue buff in a few seconds here.
So the warding, looking at the warding on the map, looks as though they have Blue Team pretty much have River entirely warded. There's, in fact, I don't think there's any point where they can't see someone crossing over, apart from maybe in bot side jungle. Red Team, they only have, they've actually got a couple of wards in top jungle now, which is really, really good for them, and a pink ward in a pretty strange spot. Maybe that was for a specific reason. I didn't quite catch that.
Maybe after both flashes were forced down bot, Janna wants to make sure that Vi doesn't come around for that extra gank, just in case. There's always the chance of the... Oh no, there's not. Jace hasn't brought teleport with him, so no. Not really sure there either then.
Yes, it seems a bit of a strange choice though. There is 3 wards in the bottom jungle, in the bottom bushes there in bot lane. Got to see if that does open up a teleport play. for the red side. Teleport is currently off cooldown, so it will be opening around about a minute and a half, and that's going to be opening him up for potential plays.
Yeah, definitely. Graves deciding to go with 2 Doran's Blades here as well as the Sivir, mostly trying to get off that early game damage, wanting to get a little bit of life steal in, and that will be blue going down to the Orianna.
The Warwick here as well, just after he's finalised that blue, looks as though he hasn't actually built his second weapon. A skirmish going on bot lane.
Oh, Graves landing the ult and getting a nice solo kill down on that Morgana up in the bot lane. Down in the bot lane.
That was a really, really nice play by Xayah there. He knew exactly how much damage his abilities were going to do. He knew exactly where to position them. That was actually really, really well played.
Yeah, really, really well played by the Graves. However, a little bit of a misplay by the Morgana, really. Knowing that her AD carry was just down, knowing that she was probably going to get caught off by a little bit of damage by the Graves, not really giving herself enough time to get out of there.
Oh, Charm being used there on a minion. Pretty sure that Ahri did not want to do that. A little bit of a mistake there. It looks like there was a gank at the same time. Not too sure if they did spot that. I was focusing on bot lane at the time. Looks as though just going to go back into the jungle and start farming away.
Yeah, Warwick King is level 6 now, so maybe looking for those first all-important ganks, seeing if they can give dial-up dongers, and even bigger lead, already securing a 2k gold lead 2 minutes in.
Yeah, and that is
9 minutes in.
That is just down to farm. The Graves there, 20 CS ahead. The Rise almost 20 CS ahead. The only lanes that are even at the moment is mid lane. So the CS lead there massively going in dial-up donger's favour, and yes, a 2k gold lead at this point in the game is very, very big indeed. Blind landing.
Ooh, John caught out a little bit here with the Vi engage coming off and Monsoon having to be blown by the John. However, a nice almost kill down in the bot lane. Warwick looking to chase that with the flash and Ahri escaping on a tiny bit of health, chasing onto this Warwick. However, Ahri walks back in, escaping on the smallest health I've seen in a long time here. And also down in the bot lane, John has managed to get herself out alive, and Vi's heading up to the mid lane, maybe seeing if she can get onto this Warwick or Orianna. However, Ori and Warwick both heading to go up to the top lane. Ward has spotted them out though in the river before it expired. Jace coming down to reward, feeling pretty safe about now. And a fight is just breaking down on the bot lane, both quite low. And Jace going down on the Orianna, getting a nice kill off with Vi actually coming in with the Vault Breaker to finish it off. So Orianna is down, and that gold lead is already closed just a small bit with that blood, with the kill coming back to Team CL.
Yeah, so they managed to pull the gold lead back a little bit there. It looks like the game went from 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds. Everything kind of happened at once there. Didn't quite catch a lot of it. The bot lane skirmish I did see, it was really, really well played by Xayah. He actually managed to dodge a couple of skill shots with a little bit of juking in the trade, and it made the trade go even instead of going not in his favour. Engage top lane.
Ooh, Jace looking to try and get a little bit more tower damage down, taking a lot of damage from a being, forcing him to back off that tower, however using his acceleration gate to make sure he gets out of there safe. And again in bot lane, Sivir managing to spell shield that along with a Morgana. However, they are taking a lot of damage. Heal coming out by the Sivir, backing off a little bit. However, both looking a little bit low on both sides. However, Graves still has his heal. Still got the shield from the Janna. Looking forward to get that final bit of damage, knowing his ultimate is back up. However, Sivir knows this and is backing straight off. Should be giving Graves an even more time to pick up a CS advantage.
So looking at it there, I think there's a bit of a misplay from Delta version. Looking at the skills on the cooldown, I don't actually think he's leveled his ultimate. I think he might have leveled another ability by accident. Oh no, he does have a level in his ultimate. He was trying to get into position there. He must have decided not to use it. The Ahri is coming down though for a kill.
Yeah, got to be quite careful here though. Ahri landing a nice charm, nice ultimate. That is going to be a kill down onto the Graves. And Ahri seeing if maybe she can get onto the John here. However, the teleport scare from the Rise, not actually deciding to use his teleport, was enough to force Ahri to back off and allowing Janna to escape. However, that is going to be significant tower damage, maybe coming down on the bot tower here with 4 members down there. May look towards dealing some damage to the dragon. However, Ori is pressuring that mid lane.
Yeah, it's good. I'm going to see what blue team decide to do here. Looks as though they are going to go for the dragon. That kill there, and this dragon will even out the gold lead there. There was a tower kill top lane as well, so it is already even the gold. There's only a couple hundred in it. This dragon is going to give CL the lead. We're about roughly 800 gold in the lead now.
Yeah, the dragon and the nice tower going down in the top lane, because Rise obviously using his teleport to back them off the bot lane tower, allowing Jace to get that final little bit of damage that he didn't get earlier on to finish off that top lane. Tower here. And Graves and Sivir having a little 1v1, both damage going down, the spell shield coming down. Graves actually missing his Q and the smoke shield, just landing. However, Janna is coming down, looking to try and finish off that kill. The ult coming through, Sivir on a tiny bit of health, and the flash coming through from the Graves, missing his Q. Janna's still coming down with the flash. Janna landing with Z. That is a lot of that is the flash burn for the Janna. However, the kill was picked up, and Graves is going to be able to get some more free farm. Heavily out farming this Sivir now by 30 minions.
Absolutely, it's a huge lead for the Graves at the moment. We've got to see how this does play out into the mid to late game. This Graves is going to be a huge beast going forward, especially with the Janna there to protect him. The Janna and Xynthia, I'm not too sure the name of the Janna, it's Oberst K. So Oberst K and Xynthia playing really well together. Not too sure if they play together often, but it looks as though they do have a little bit of synergy coming into the game.
Yeah, especially against a really good mid laner such as Rustytron himself. However, Rustytron is looking a little bit more lackluster this game. Maybe Sivir wasn't the best pick he could have picked. However, as we know, 4 AD carries were banned out, so they've got to be 3 AD carries were banned out. A lot of them looking to maybe be the ones they were going for. Jinx is a favorite sort of for Kimala as far as I'm aware of. So with that being banned out, he decided to go for the Graves. Maybe Rustytron was looking to maybe try and get onto that Lucian, knowing that they had first pick on the blue team. However, that didn't get through, and so he's been put onto the Sivir, which isn't seeming to go in his way at the moment.
Yeah, it looks a little bit strange at the moment. As you said there, that there was 3 AD carries banned, and it is quite difficult to find one after that. Looks as though they did settle on the Sivir. As we suspected, the Graves is winning out in the lane. Got to see how it plays out into the team fight, but the Xynthia's lead at the moment is quite high. I don't know what the Sivir and the Morgana can do to try and shut this down. Maybe jungle pressure from the Vi.
Yeah, maybe indeed. However, although the bot lane is working quite well for Dial Up Dong, as the mid lane is got a little bit of an advantage going down to that Ahri now. Ahri trying to pressure that as much as she can. Maybe a Vi coming down. Maybe try and get onto that Orianna with lots of mobility from both the Vi and the Ahri. However, down in the bot lane, Vi using her ult here, down onto the Graves. The Monsoon not really affecting the Graves at all. However, Warwick coming down, trying to turn this fight around. A lot of members are low on the Dial Up Dong as the binding landing from the Morgana. Both teams looking a little bit scared here. However, the heal coming out, meaning Vi also having to burn flash and heal coming out from the Sivir. Lots of summoners being burnt here. Ahri coming down at the last moment, missing quite a few abilities. However, managing to pick up that kill in the Graves. And down here in the bot lane, a lot of pressure going to be coming down to the tower.
Yep, so it looks like this is going to be a great turnaround for Team CL there. They're going to push this tower, and they are going to get this tower down. However, all the while, the Orianna is pushing down mid lane hard. She's trying to get that turret as low as she can. She's actually killed the mid lane tier 1 turret.
Yep. That is equaled up the gold again. That is going to be going down if they get the tower hit. So yes, the gold lead was just equalised by Dial Up Dongers. Slowly coming back into it though with Team CL picking up the tower down bot lane. And Rise again falling a little bit behind against the Jace, but obviously that Jace poke is going to be pretty damn strong, especially at this point in the game. So Rise still looking to farm up, stack that tier, get to that late game.
Jace does have the advantage as well of being an AD-based champion, so the damage he's going to do to those turrets is going to be a lot higher than what Rise does have to offer. It is coming to effect. He's pushing down quite hard, trying to get as much damage as he can done. However, he does not have teleport, so the Dial-Up Dongers could use that to their advantage. They could, while he's top lane, they do have free reign on the map, and they will know it will be a 5v4. See how that does play into it. Looks like a red team coming up to clear out the Dragon area. Dragon is going to be up in about 2 minutes'
That's
time.
true indeed. Dragon should be coming up in for 2 minutes time here. So Rise keeping that teleport, not wanting to teleport back up to that top lane. Not really any need. Jace also grouping down round about the Dragon area, knowing he doesn't have that teleport advantage. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. Ahri landing a lovely charm with a Morgana binding following up, and that will be Ahri going down.
Yeah, so
that will be Orianna going down.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was a really good champ by the Ahri, landed nice and easy. They had the vision in it, so it was a pretty simple lock on there. Managed to get the kill. A DFG actually, Deathfire Grasp being picked up for the Ahri, so the damage she's going to be doing to, I think she can probably 100-0 everyone on their team at the moment, depending on the builds. But she's doing very well at the moment.
Landing a lovely lover charm here, just as we're talking about her. However, Red Team being sort of pushed down to the bot lane, not wanting to cause a fight here, allowing them to destroy the mid turret in return here, in retaliation, as we just said earlier on. Jace with that heavy AD damage managed to get down a lot of tower damage, even to the second tower here. and as well as Jace just escaping on a low bit of health, as well as Sivir after after Graves trying to get off that 1v1 kill. Although Warwick looks to be in a little bit of trouble here, Graves not really wanting to show himself here. They managed to pick up the Warwick. However, Ryze is actually going to be able to pick off Jace, so that has so far been a 1-for-1 trade. However, with both Sivir backing off and Graves looking like he's going to have to back off, the teams are looking a little bit more even in HP bars. Looking down at the moment, 3 members on the blue team around the Dragon area with just 2 members of the red team. However, Graves has decided to stick around with his lifesteal coming in from that Vampire, etc. and the Toy Doran's Blade. Get up more farm, get up that CS lead again onto the Sivir.
Yes, that was a really, really hectic couple of minutes there. It looks as though they were fighting all around the Dragon Pit, and Dragon is just about to spawn now. So I don't know if they mistimed it. And another charm landing from the Ahri. Looks like nothing's going to happen on that, though. Just going to clear out some wards and get the vision back.
I think ward is going down. Orianna feeling a little bit more scared, knowing Ahri's ult is now off cooldown. Although Ahri not having the mana to maybe finish off a full combo, hoping to regain some mana here.
So they're just going to try and take the Dragon here. They have the blue team do have vision of the of Dial-Up Dongers here. Looks so we're going to see what they can do. They are out of position here.
Yeah, red team not really being reactive enough here, with the Sivir blocking them off, and that will be the Dragon going down to the blue team. Although Ryze doing a lot of damage to the Ahri. Ahri is now pretty much out of the fight unless she can land off a charm from the back line. Sivir also lowering a bit of health here, although Warwick landing very low. Knows he has his ult though, gone in straight on the Sivir, with Graves coming up from behind, so Warwick has managed to finish off that Sivir. So far that's been a 1 kill for a Dragon trade. Still coming out better for Team CL, however. However, CL will mainly have to back off here. Jace looking for a little bit more damage. The shield coming out, allowing the Janna to survive. The shock blast coming through from the Jace though.
That was a bit of a cut shield there from Janna. She managed to shield the brunt of the damage coming out from his Q. But yeah, as you mentioned, it was a really, really good trade for Team CL. They managed to extend the gold lead by roughly 1,000, so they're now well and truly in the lead there. Let's see how they push that in. A huge wave for this Ryze though. He's going to get a little bit more farm under his belt. Just unlucky for Team CL, this wave hasn't just pushed into the tower yet.
Yeah, Ryze definitely looking to try and farm up, get a little bit of lead maybe onto that Jace. The one problem there is with Jace pushing down so heavily into that top lane, it is going to give Ryze a bit of a chance to sit there, keep farming up. He has that TP advantage over Jace. Jace cannot stay overextended for as long as he wants, and even if he does, he doesn't have that TP to get back down into the fights. Although with Dragon going down, there's going to be a little bit less of a focus down there in that lane. Jace going in for the kill on the Orianna. Orianna forced to use her ult, trying to run away, but just dying out there. And Sivir actually going in on this Graves. The heal coming through, both Graves and Sivir. Lovely fight for the both of them. Graves just managing to pick up the kill though. That was a lovely skill with Graves dodging the Sivir Q, and Graves coming out on top.
That was a gorgeous play by the Graves. Something else he did there, that he just kind of ducked into the bush just to avoid the auto attacks from the minions, just to mitigate the damage. Really, really well played by Xayah. Really great mechanical play.
However, knowing Ryze is up in that top lane, Jace with that high damage, they are pushing down the second tower here in the mid lane. Warwick coming back maybe to deter them a bit, but not really looking like much luck, and that will be a turret going down here. And Warwick actually landing the charm, and that is so much damage coming down from Team CL here, landing some lovely plays, and Graves staying around the side with the Morgana. With the Morgana actually picking up the kill there, as well as Janna coming down. That has been a free for nothing trade here. This is going to allow Team CL maybe to even push down on this mid tower. Feeling a little less confident knowing there is still an Orianna with good wave clear and a Ryze around, knowing it's the mid tower. Waiting for this minion wave, maybe trying to get down a little bit of damage here. However, I'm not sure they're actually going to be able to pick up the tower here. Knowing that themselves, they've decided to try and back off a little bit. Death timers are still pretty short, Dial-Up Dongers are now pretty much all back up.
Yeah, it looks though I think Team CL are just going to kind of quit while they're ahead here. I'm going to steal the blue buff away, hand that over to the Ahri. They did play very well. That was a nice 1,000 gold that they added onto their lead there from those 3 kills. And again, they are moving down towards the Dragon area, just trying to get the vision on. Charm landing.
Ryze unfortunately sitting on a ward, looking to get a sneaky play out there, with Warwick landing a nice ult onto the Jace. Jace with a tiny bit of health, however, Jace knocking him away with his hammer, allowing Sivir come in and do an extra bit of damage, with a lovely charm go through the wall, landing on the Warwick. The Monsoon, though, coming out from the Janna, allowing Warwick to escape on a tiny bit of health here. Ryze landing a nice cage down onto the Vi, feeling like she's going to have to back out here. Jace on very low health. Orianna coming from the side with a lovely W, finishing off the Jace. Ahri now backing out here, though. Red team are capitalising down on this. Red team are chasing up. They have quite a high movement speed, however, the Ahri and the Sivir may be trying to get away here. And that is going to be red team probably pushing down, maybe try and take down this bot tower. However, Morgana is coming back up from being to base to try and bring some more support to the team.
So we just saw both teams playing to both of their strengths there. We had the disengage from Janna coming into effect in that fight, saving the Warwick. We had the pick composition coming out from the Ahri, and we had the speed up coming from the Sivir. All of those played a great part of that battle. They managed to play it really, really well to mitigate as much damage. Sadly, the Jace was cut out. Charm landing on the rise, huge burst coming in from Ahri.
Ooh, a lovely Orianna ult landing back on the Ahri, however, that's not going to be enough damage. Ahri is probably significantly outplaying the Orianna at the moment, managed to pick up the kill on the rise. They tried to answer a little bit further back, trying to kill that Morgana, however, with the spell shield coming through, they didn't manage to finish it off, and red team, a little bit low, forced to back off a little bit more, trying to get out of this, losing as little people as they can, only losing the rise here. However, Rise's teleport is still around, is still going to be able to pressure that up, and maybe use that to an advantage. However, as you can see, blue team still with that 6k gold lead now, and you can tell just from the vision that blue team have the lead.
Yeah, so
Pretty
the blue
much
team
forced straight into their jungle.
The blue team have grabbed all of the lead and kind of ran away with it here. They've managed to push their advantage into more vision control, more lane pushing. You see the top lane being controlled really, really well. Whether they're doing it intentionally or not, I don't know. But the top lane is pushing in really, really hard, forcing the Rise to go there. I do think Dalip Dongers do need to stick that Rise in the top lane and get him to hammer that lane down as much as he can. You just said there, his teleport was up for that entire fight. He could have been sat top lane, getting a lot of farm. Charm landing, just are they going to dive?
Oh, however, there is stuff with that. Although his teleport was up, the Rise is actually going to go down into the Jace with 3 men coming up, and that's going to be the second tower, taking a lot of damage here in the top lane. Orianna and Warwick trying to come up, trying to back him off a bit. However, Graves is down farming in the bot lane, so most likely, yes, this top tower, second tower is going to go down. Warwick getting caught out by the Vyq, flashing away from the Morgana Bind and narrowly missing. A little bit more poke coming in from the Jace, and they're looking to group up here on the inhibitor turret in the top lane. Janna coming through, her ult is back off cooldown, so she does have the Monsoon available if they decide to tower dive. So unlikely that Team CL are going to try and do this, even with the lovely Morgana binding landing onto the Warwick.
Yeah, so because the 5 members of Dalip Dong has been up now. Huge ult Orianna from Ahri.
The Orianna ult followed with the Warwick ult, managing to get them to shut down the Ahri. However, Jace is going to come through, finish off that Warwick. That's going to be a 1-for-1 trade, although the Ahri was a significant source of damage for Team CL here, so we're going to see how that plays out. Although Jace still with a lot of backline damage still around, although Team CL getting a little bit low here. Rise looking for some blood. Sivir turning a little bit back around to try and get off some damage. However, the Sivir ult coming out, allowing them to run away with the acceleration gate. Kind of camping in a bush here, maybe looking forward to get back onto this Graves. With the ult coming through from the Vyq, maybe gone in a little bit too early by himself, going down herself here, and the Jace also going down. That was a little bit of a misplay, trying to get onto that Graves. However, the Orianna shield and the flash allowing them to keep them alive.
So the
Vyq maybe going just a little bit too ham.
So the auto attack from the Graves there, managing to kill the Jace just before the Jace hammer landed on his face. And he did mitigate all the damage there. He would have died if that did land, so really, really well played again by Xaympia. He's definitely reaching down into his bag of tricks and trying to pull out as much as he possibly can. Build, he's going for the Infinity Edge Blade of the Rune King. A little bit strange, maybe he's going to go for a little bit more attack speed going into it, but he does do a lot of damage with his abilities at the moment.
Yeah, Graves definitely packing a punch here. Honestly, I think Graves is the one chance Dalip Dongers are currently having to stay in this game. They are picking these kills back up. Although the gold lead is still similar for Team CL, they're not really picking up a gold lead. Although towers are still falling, so Dalip have got to be careful here.
Yeah, it is only 1 tower for Dalip Dongers in regards to the 5 that Team CL do have. And that is where a large proportion of the gold lead is coming from. Vision control as well. It's only just now that Dalip Dongers have managed to get the large amount of wards, and they are doing it in their own top jungle. So that does show quite a bit. I think they are concerned they are going to get fight there. Ulti coming in from Ahri.
Ahri missing that charm, however, Ahri managed to get the last part of her E off, managed to finish off the Graves here. So Graves just going down there. Also at the same time, Team CL picking up that Graves, also picked up the Dragon due to no timing being done down there. Although, Vyq with a lovely engage there, Jace managed to come in and finish it off. Oriole not really doing anything whatsoever there. And still, this blue team is now 5 members. It's a 5v3 fight. War getting picked off by the Jace. Jace is doing an incredible amount of damage at the moment. And sitting here, they're going to be able to get this mid inhibitor tower down, most likely the inhibitor 2 here. Dalip Dong is looking to be in a bit of a bad shape here, with Jace actually finishing off the inhibitor.
So we mentioned at the start of the game how vital the two shields bot lane are going to be. Just turned out to that fight there. The black shield on the Vine, the spell shield on the Sivir completely stopped all of the damage coming out from the Iron Ult. Absolutely great use of skills. Looks like they are going to use the large minion wave that is gathering bot lane to push in the bot tower and add another one to their already large gold lead.
That's going to be a 7-for-1 in towers here. Dial of Donga's not looking in great shape, honestly. And that Jace has got to that point. He's got that Mana Moon. He's got that Last Whisper, and he's got that Ghost Blade. So he's going to be feeling pretty damn happy with himself here. And Ahri looking to maybe pick up Rabadon's quite soon, or maybe a Zhonya's. Most likely a Rabadon's, considering she is going 6-on-1, not feeling so much pressure, knowing she has that high mobility ultimate to escape in sticky situations.
Yeah, it looks as though the team composition is working out really, really well for Team CL here. They are getting the picks on the right people. There was the fight where they got they actually got 3 people and they pushed down onto the mid lane tower that really kind of pushed them into the lead. They managed to get the vision advantage from that. Vision control as well, really, really good for Team CL. They're keeping on top of it. They managed to keep the wards in the right places. Only just now when Dial Up Dongers do go back out, back into their own jungle, they're managing to get a little bit more vision around. Just while there's a little bit of lapse in action, let's take a look at the builds. Warwick only, in fact, I don't think he has Feral Flare yet. No, he actually doesn't.
No, I don't
so
think he has.
Feral Flare is not stacked at all.
20 minutes in, and Warwick without a Feral Flare, he's been getting picked off. There's been so much action going on for the last 30 minutes, he hasn't actually been able to complete it.
So yeah, so pretty strange item choice.
Red team, however, coming back with a lot of vision coming down on the map, though. This may help them stay out of trouble a bit more, especially with Team CL managing to get off a lot of them picks with the Ahri.
So if we actually look at the team compositions here going into this, I think this is going to be a large fight coming out sometime soon, just in order to try and help Team CL push down towards the end of the game. And they are pushing in with the super minions, but if you look at the composition here and how the teams are playing together, the tankiest member of Dial Up Dongers at the moment is Ryze, and when Ryze is your tankiest person, and he does melt very quickly to both Ahri and the Sivir at this point in time, it's a little bit of a sticky situation for you.
Yeah, not really a huge fan of Warwick's build path this moment, especially without the Feral Flare stacked. He's gone for Boots of Swiftness, gone for a couple more daggers. He doesn't really have many items completed, knowing he's not going to get that blade completed, just picking up a Ruby Crystal, trying to give him just a tad more HP. Not really looking like it's going to help too much though, with Jace's poke and the Morgana landing a smooth binding. Not really any backup though to finish his kill off, and so Red Team playing a little bit more safe, trying to stay out of trouble. They still have the good wave clear from the Orianna and the Ryze, so they're just going to try and fend them off for as long as possible.
Look at the damage from that Jace Q with the acceleration gate. Absolutely huge amount of damage. Just chunked Orianna to around 60%.
Yeah. The Jace is damage and his poke is coming through so strong right now. If a team fight were to break out right now, even with the Rabadons being completed on the Orianna, I feel like they're not going to have enough damage whatsoever here. Orianna incredibly low, Ahri going in, Vi going in with the ult actually landing on the Graves, and even with the Monsoon, the Graves has gone down. Janna standing in a bit of trouble, Vi taking a lot of damage, and Orianna managing to finish down that Vi. However, Sivir is going hand down here in the top lane against the Warwick. And a nice 3-man Orianna, however, this is going to be Ahri just surviving though. Ahri is dead, even with the lovely ult here. Blue team just had too much power really, and Red team couldn't get those kills. The Morgana ult coming through here, Ahri on a tiny bit of health, and the Sivir actually coming back to finish off this Warwick. This is not looking good. This may even be game over here. Both the Ryze and the Janna are escaping on a sliver of HP and looking to go and get top inhibitor too.
Yeah, they are pushing down the top inhibitor here. They're going to try and push down top and mid inhibitor, try and get those two waves going. Looks as though this could be a Baron attempt coming out from blue team. Oh, Ahri getting caught by the minions.
Yeah, Ahri getting a little bit caught by minion block there. Ryze with home guards allowing to come down and finishing them off. Maybe stay just a little bit too long here for Team CL. However, it's not really going to cause them too much trouble as they still have inhibitor. They do have super minions and minions crashing down into the base. Orianna looking to clear that wave out now. And that will be Morgana actually going down to the Ryze. So Ryze has picked up 2 kills since Team CL stayed around the base.
Yeah, the Ryze actually using his teleport to get into position there. Something that I didn't actually notice. I didn't see the animations going on. Looks as though he managed to do a little bit of a sneaky teleport, managed to pick himself up a kill there. Are they going to try and Baron?
I'm not sure if they are going to try Baron, probably feeling a little bit more pressure knowing they had no vision on the Baron, feeling like Team CL could have easily been sitting there doing it themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks as though they are waiting on the death toms there. It's only Morgana that's actually due to come up, and looks as though they have chose to start this there.
They have chose to start the Baron, maybe knowing they are behind, knowing this is really the last chance they're going to have, with super minions coming down from both the mid and top lane, feeling a lot of pressure here. However, the Team CL have so much for it, and that is a fail Orianna ult, as well as the Warwick not really getting it onto a target they want, so that it will be Jace coming down. Jace coming down with a hammer, Sivir picking up a double kill and finishing off. That is a clean ace for Team CL. They're going to go down and finish off this game now. That was beautifully played by Team CL. Dial-Up Donga's going for a pretty desperate Baron rush, not really pulling it off. Team CL allowing to close down on them and finish them off.
Absolutely. So yeah, you saw that, which is though we have seen YouTube play so well in the previous game as well as this one as well. We have to give it to him. But he's just kind of that one mistake that he was bound to make. He kind of made at the wrong time. His Orianna ult kind of whiffed a bit there. I think if he did land it, it would have delayed the Divine Gauge on the two there. But I think they were too far behind anyway. And it looks as though they are going to clean up the game really, really easily. So really well played by Team CL. Dial-Up Donga sadly just not enough there. Looks as though they are going to finally clear it up after a lot of skills being burnt. But really well played, both teams.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. I feel like if I was going to have to say my man of the match for the team, it would be a close toss-up between both the Jace and the Ahri. Jace dealing so much damage, however, I think with those charms coming through, I'd have to keep it just down to that Ahri.
Excellent. So thanks very much for watching, guys, and we'll catch you next time.
Yep, I've been Nightshade, and I've been here with QS, so thank you guys for watching.